Hi and welcome to part 2 of my Fender Player Series Telecaster mod videos. If you haven't seen part 1 yet and you'd like to, there's a link down below in the See More section. And while you're down there, please hit like, subscribe and click the bell icon for more content. Stay tuned to see me change the tuners, drill and fit a new American standard string tree, roll the fretboard and polish the fret ends to make this made in Mexico guitar play and feel more like its American standard big brother. The great thing about the Fender Locking Tuners is they will fit straight into the existing holes. So there's no need to make any permanent modifications to the instrument. In fact, it's so easy, I got my 8-year-old daughter to fit the last one for me. These tuners cost me $59.99, they're very smooth and accurate, and overall feel like a really quality machine head. These particular ones have the smaller vintage style buttons which look great on this guitar, making it look a little bit more like an early Blackguard Telecaster. At the time of buying them I couldn't get hold of the tuners with the larger buttons, as everywhere I looked for them in the UK was out of stock. These particular tuners have staggered capstans, so if you do buy them make sure that you fit them in the right order, otherwise that may affect the tension of the strings as they come over the nut. Overall I'm very pleased with the aesthetics and functionality of the tuners, and what's more, changing strings is now super quick and easy. The US string trees are a little higher than the Mexican equivalent, but thankfully this shouldn't cause any issues. Not only do they look better to me, the strings will be less likely to grab under the smoother rounded guides. The one downfall in doing this mod is it does require you to drill a small hole into the headstock of your guitar. So if you're uncertain of your ability to do so, I highly recommend that you practice on a piece of wood 1 or 2 times to make sure that you do the job accurately. Because if you do this straight into your guitar and you make a mistake, you'll end up with a horrible unsightly hole in your beloved axe. So by utilising the existing hole left by the old string tree, we can actually screw down the tree against the 2 E and B strings to create an impression in the wood which will act as a guide for our drill bit to follow in the future step. Once you've made that impression, the drill bit should then hopefully follow that guide, but you do still need to be very careful so that you don't end up slipping and scratching up the finish. Once you drill that hole, the string tree will screw down and fit perfectly, and only $7.99 for 2. This is a cheap upgrade that in my opinion is well worth the investment. Aside from the country that the guitar is made in, the main thing that differentiate between the US models and the Mexican guitars is the amount of time spent on making the fit and finish as comfortable and as playable as possible. Thankfully though, with a few tools and about an hour's worth of your time, you'll be able to make those improvements yourself. It's very easy and can make a less expensive guitar much nicer to play. And you could easily do this without the files. Sandpaper will do the job just fine. However, I feel that the files give me a much more even and uniform finish across the frets and make the job slightly quicker, giving an overall better result. Warning, in this video I am filing through the finish. Once you finish with the sandpaper, you can go one step further by using something like a metal polish, but again be aware that if you have sanded off the edge of the finish, this can seep into the wood and make it look really horrible and grimy. So make sure if you do that, you tape off the fingerboard very well. And make sure that you clean it all off before you remove the masking tape and restring the guitar. So excluding the cost of the files and sandpaper that I used, the overall cost came to around about £68 and only cost me an hour of work. And as a result, the neck feels really smooth, the frets are super shiny, and the guitar is far more comfortable to play. Although not really necessary, I think the string tree adds a little bit of extra class to the headstock of the guitar. I like the way that it looks compared to the original one, which in my opinion looked a little bit cheap and nasty. And not to mention the fact that the rounded nature of the string guides create less chance of the string snagging and hopefully should aid in tuning stability. And although it's really a luxury, having locking tuners on the guitar will make string changing much quicker and easier, and aesthetically speaking, you don't end up with lots of wraps around the capstans, which I prefer. So with a relatively small amount of effort and a little bit of money, we've managed to change the neck of the guitar to look far more like an American standard. And what's more important than the looks is the functionality, and the way that the neck feels is up there with its big brother. And as the fingerboard is the guitar's interface, I think this should be the first thing you consider when trying to improve the instrument's performance. Thanks ever so much for watching. Let me know what you thought of the video in the comments section below. Please click like if you liked the video and dislike if you didn't. And if you're not already a subscriber, go ahead, click the subscribe button, and while you're down there, click that notification bell and you'll be one of the first to see the next video.